begin, we're going to look at an activity you could use at the beginning of your very first lesson with a new group. Note, the class is of mixed intermediate and upper intermediate level.
Hello everyone, my name is Louisa, and on the board there's some information about me. Okay, 34, married, teacher, yes, 2 children, okay. That's the answers to some questions. Can you give me the questions? What would the question be for this one?
How old are you?
Fantastic, yep, 34. And what would the question be for this one?
Are you single or married?
Very good, yeah, wonderful. And this one?
What do you do? What do you do?
What do you do? What's your job is fine. We would normally say, what do you do? That's fine, good, yeah,
Do you have children?
Yep, do you have children? Have you got children? Fantastic. In a moment, you're going to talk together to find out a bit more about the class, about the person sitting next to you. But first, are there any other questions that you'd like to know about your partner? What kind of questions could you ask them?
Where do you live?
Where do you live? Very good.
What are you doing in England?
What are you doing in England? Very good. Good questions. Any others?
What's your hobbies?
What are your hobbies? Fantastic. Really good getting to know you questions. Just ask the questions to find out more about your partner, and then you're going to introduce your partner to the class. Okay? So when you're ready?
How old are you? Are you married? Are you married?
I've been married 11 years.
Do you have children? What do you do?
I'm a transport manager.
How long have you been in this? Have you got any children?
No.
Or what do you like to do in your free time?
Yes, I do a lot of
Have
discipline.
What do you beats whilst you're over here? What do you do in your spare time?
Go to the pub.
Thank you very much. Could you stand up for us and introduce Pierre to the group, please? If you'd like to stand here.
Okay, this is Pierre from Belgium. He is 40. He is married for 11 years now. He is transporting manager, and no, he hasn't got any children. And he has too many embarrassing moments. And he met a couple of Belgium famous people we don't know really.
They're famous in Belgium. Fantastic, thank you very much. That's wonderful.
Now we're going to demonstrate a 5-minute communication activity which you could use at the beginning of any lesson.
You all have names on your back, and you have to find out who you are. You're a famous person. Okay? Now you can only ask yes or no questions. You can be alive or dead. You can be a politician or someone in the films. Okay? For example, you can see I have someone on my back.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I male?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Am I alive?
No.
Am I a politician?
No.
No.
Am I a singer?
Yes.
Okay, very good. You get the idea. Okay? So when you're ready, you can stand up and you can ask questions of each other. All right? Ready? Go.
Am I
male?
yeah. Male?
No.
So female. Am I
Singer.
Am I
politician? Yes.
male?
no.
In England.
Am I
No.
male? Pop singer?
No. Yes.
While this was only a short activity, it gets the students out of their seats, speaking in English, and warmed for the lesson to come. We're going to look at the different stages involved in an effective listening lesson. Notice how the lesson starts with a warmer, this time linked to the theme of the listening, which is international food.
On the board, we have a list of countries and the typical food in that country, but they've all been mixed up, okay? So we're going to see who can join the correct food to the correct country, okay, the quickest. Okay, so we need this tea out here, please. This tea out here, please. So you know what you have to do? If you think that a hamburger is typical of India, then you join the two together, okay? We'll see who does it the fastest. When you're ready, steady, go. Well done. Well done, thank you very much. In a moment on the tape, we're going to hear two people talking about the typical food in their country, okay? We're going to hear from somebody in Spain and someone in Thailand, okay? And they'll each be talking about their typical dishes of their country and how they prepare it. Before we listen, I would like you to, in your groups, guess which food they might be describing, okay? And how you think you might prepare that dish, okay? So for Spain, can you think of what their national dish might be, a typical dish? Also how you might prepare it, okay? And also similarly for Thailand.
Spain is quite popular. Huge pie. It's like a barbecue for Spain sort of thing. They do it outside and put everything, whatever you want.
Also vegetarian restaurant.
They've got carrots, spices.
Okay, well done. Now when we listen to the tape, I just want you to see if you were right, okay, in your guessing. For the first listening, just see if you were right. If you guessed the national dish correctly and if you more or less guessed how to prepare it, okay? Before we listen, there's just some words you might not know. Okay. In England we use a knife and a fork. In China you use special sticks called chopsticks. Can you say it again?
Chopsticks.
Where's the strong syllable? Chopstick.
Chopsticks.
Chopsticks. Well done, everyone.
Chopsticks.
Well done. If you're cooking something in oil, in a pan, it's called fry. Excellent. And if you have individual pieces of meat and you put them on a long stick, you know, to make a kebab, yeah? What's the stick called? Do you know? Skewer. Again? Skewer. Skewer? Skewer, yeah? Skewer. Where's the strong syllable? Skewer. Skewer. Yeah, okay. That's for the individual pieces of meat to make a kebab, okay? Wonderful. Okay, so now we're going to listen. Just see if you were correct, that you guessed the typical dish and more or less how it was prepared, okay?
At this point, students listen to the tape and check their answers with a partner. Afterwards, the teacher can get feedback from the class to make sure they have understood.
Okay, well done. On the second listening, I want you to answer these questions. How they prepare the food, okay? What it tastes like, okay? And when they eat it, okay? Is it a special occasion or a party, or is it just an everyday dish, okay? So while you're listening the second time, answer these questions, okay?
During the second listening, students are listening for more specific information. The teacher conducts feedback by listing the answers from the class.
I'd like you to talk to your partners about the typical dish in your country, okay? And you can use these to discuss. So how you prepare it in your country, what the typical dish is, what it tastes like, and when you eat it. Is it a special occasion or just an everyday meal? Okay?
Oh, they're not cooked, they're
There was just a couple of things while you were talking. It was very, very good. What's it called when you have a knife and you cut something up very quickly, like an onion?
chopping.
Chop, yeah, chopping or chop. You have some cheese, maybe you want to put it on a pizza, so you have to grate it. What's the thing called that you grate it on? What's the object, the noun? Grater. Where's the strong syllable? Grater. Excellent. Well done.
In this part, we're going to look at one way to teach a grammatical structure. This is a revision lesson, and the students have already had exposure to the structure being covered.
This is my friend John. Is he happy or sad? Sad. Why do you think he's sad? He's got no money. No, he's got no money. He's very sad. Poor John. So, he buys, do you know what this is?
Lottery ticket.
Lottery ticket, well done. Yeah, it's a lottery ticket. What happens if you win the lottery? What are you? You're very rich. Now John dreams of being rich. He dreams of being rich and all the wonderful things he can buy. Okay? In fact, this is one of them. Okay? We can say, if he was rich, he'd buy a car. If he was rich, he'd buy a car. Everyone?
If he was rich, he would buy a car.
Okay. He'd. If he was rich, he'd buy a car.
If he was rich, he'd buy a car.
Good.
If he was rich, he'd buy a car.
If he was rich, he'd buy a car.
If he was rich, he'd buy a car.
Very good.
If he was rich, he'd buy a car.
If he was rich, he would buy a car.
Okay. He would. He'd
Buy a car.
Okay, again.
If he was rich, he'd buy a car.
If he was rich, he'd buy a car.
Excellent. Okay. And a boat.
Now the teacher uses other picture prompts and, as before, the students repeat the new sentence as a class and individually. This gives the students further practice of the structure.
Is he going to be very rich? Is it likely?
No.
No. Is it unlikely?
Yes.
It's unreal or unlikely or a dream. Okay? Now, can you ask me the question about what I would do?
What would you do if you were rich?
Yeah, very good. Stay with buy because we're using buy. Okay.
What would you buy if you were rich?
Good. I'd buy a car. Okay. Anna, can you ask me?
If you were rich, what would you buy?
Good. Good. Very good. Okay. What would you buy if you were rich?
I would buy a car.
Excellent. I would.
I'd buy a car.
Excellent.
If you were rich, What would you buy?
I'd buy a castle.
Good.
If you were rich, what would you buy?
This is John's girlfriend. She has different ideas about what she would do with the money. It's always the way. Okay. She doesn't want to keep the money. She'd give it away to charity, okay? And she's giving it to charity, so would you buy a car? No. Let's have the negative all together.
If she was rich, she wouldn't buy a car.
Good. And would you buy a castle?
No.
Okay.
If she was rich, she wouldn't buy a castle.
Very good. Okay, we're just going to write it on the board. Okay, so you have something to take away. Can you give me the positive sentence, the first one that we had?
If he was rich.
Okay.
He'd buy a castle.
And are these real or unreal situations?
Unreal.
Unreal, okay. And does anyone know the name of the structure?
Second conditional.
Second conditional. Okay, so it's second conditional and it's formed like this, and we use it to express unreal or unlikely situations or dreams.
We've concluded the presentation of the structure and ensured that students are comfortable with the form and meaning. Now we'll go on to practice the structure with controlled and free practice activities.
In here, I've got some mixed up sentences, okay? They're conditional sentences with a question and an answer, okay? What you have to do is put them in the correct order, okay? So this is yours. That's one sentence. It's two sentences. Okay, so in your groups you can talk in your groups about what you would buy if you were rich or what you wouldn't buy, okay? Just compare. What would you do if you were rich? What would you buy? Okay, we just moved in.
What would you buy? Big house in my country.
What
Big
wouldn't
house
you buy?
in Spain.
I wouldn't buy.
Oh. Here we've got some interesting situations, okay, for you to discuss, okay, what you would do. For example, the first one is, what would you do if you saw your boyfriend or girlfriend's diary left open? Okay, so what would you do? Would you be honest and walk away? What would you do? Would you be tempted? Would you read it?
Yes.
So definite. Yes.
Very curious.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't read it?
I would.
You wouldn't read it. What if you knew that they would never find out?
Also your name.
No, I don't think I could.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
I would.
Okay, this is the interesting thing. What I'd like you to do, there's some more questions like that on here, okay? What I want you to do first is write your answers, okay? Write your answers about what, in full sentences if you can, okay? About what you would do, first of all. And then you're going to compare in a group your answers, okay? Okay, if you've finished, just talk together to compare your answers.
We're going to conclude with a lesson focusing on communication. The aim is to develop fluency and to give students further speaking and listening practice.
I'm going to tell you a story, something that's happened to me. It's quite an exciting story, a bit frightening actually at the time. What happened was, I was in a plane, a little small plane, I think it's called a seaplane technically, in Alaska. Now the seaplane has legs so that if you want to land on ice, you can land on ice. But when we landed on ice, the legs weren't down. So we landed on the ice, on our plane, tipped into the icy water, and were upside down in water. Okay? We all had to get out of our seatbelts quickly and swim to the surface as quickly as possible. Okay? It was a bit frightening, I can tell you. But I also have something else to tell you. That story, it didn't happen to me. I was actually lying. How about that? Did you believe me when I said it?
No.
Yes.
No, you didn't believe me. I must not be a very good liar then. Are you good liars?
No.
Are you good liars? We're going to find out, okay? What I'd like you to do, first of all, is talk together. Just compare any exciting stories or events that have happened to you, okay? Just for 2 minutes, okay? It could be dramatic or exciting or very funny, okay? But one event. Just compare it together in your groups. And don't let the other side hear, okay? So a little bit quiet between you, all right? Can you move your chairs around in a circle and in a circle? You might want to close it in a bit and they'll hear you. Thank you very much. Hopefully you've had some time to talk about an exciting story. Now, I'd like you to choose one of the stories, okay, the most exciting story. Now, each of you in your group are going to pretend that that story is your story. Okay? So, for example, if you've decided that the Alaska seaplane story is the story you're going to choose in your group, it's happened to you, it's happened to you, it's happened to you. And the other side are going to ask you questions to find out who is lying and who is telling the truth. Okay? So before they ask the questions, you're going to need some time to get your stories correct. Because they might say, okay, so how did you fly to Alaska? Or how cold was it? Or tell me about the plane. Was it a 2-seater or a 3-seater? Okay? So think of the questions that this side is going to ask you, okay? And prepare your story. We'll see how good liars you are. Okay? So you have to share the story between you and ask questions. One story, yep, that's it. One story. You choose the story that you all liked in the group. And now you've got to try and make it your story. Okay? So you've got to work out the detail. All right? Is that okay? Yeah? Finished? Yeah. Excellent. This team, can you line up there? Okay. Tatiana, can you stand up a minute? Can you tell this group your story?
Oh.
Just very briefly, a headline.
We went to a competition by little bus, about 10 people. It was a small group of musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to a competition. There was more groups. And they were singing or they just talking poetry. And we won the first prize.
Wow.
And there was a TV. And they took a tape of us.
They filmed you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, wonderful. So if you can move your chair so that you are opposite one other person. Yeah. Okay. Now, this side, you're going to ask questions about the event, okay, for 2 minutes. And then we'll change the person so that you get to interview everybody. And you can decide between you who is lying and who is telling the truth. Okay? Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. So when you're ready, you can start your questions.
Oh. Just remind us, where was it?
What time of year was it? When did you go? When did you go on the trip?
How many young people were there?
Was it summer? Winter time? Do you know where it was? Where did you go?
Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully you'll be able to ask some questions. If you can stand up and move down one, so you go to the monitor. And away you go.
Okay. So
When did you go?
when
What
was
time
it?
of year?
Where did you go? Yeah, the country. Yeah. And so how many of was there any group? Was it a band? On the coach or bus? To get to
Okay, thank you very much. This team, any idea who do you think is lying and who do you think is telling the truth?
I think I might know who's telling the truth.
Right.
Who do you think is telling the truth?
Monica.
Think Monica's telling the truth? Do you agree?
Yeah, go with that. She's not.
So on a balance, you think Monica is telling the truth? Possibly. Okay. Can the person who is telling the truth please stand up? Hey! Very good lying going on. That's really, really good. Well done. How do you pronounce this word? The L is silent. If I tell you the L. Folk. Folk. Do you know folk? Say folk music. What that is? Yeah. Okay. Country music and of the country. Okay. Folk. Say it again. Folk. I'm hearing a folk somewhere as well. There's no L. Imagine the L is not there. It's got an E on the end, if you like. But it's folk. Folk. Very good. And the word competition. Where's the syllable? Where's the strong syllable?
Competition.
Competition. Very good. Can you say it louder? Competition. Very good. Competition.
Competition.
Competition. Very good. Okay. And this was a question about an experience in the past. I think it was just a slip, but... Now it should be a question in the past, so can you make that a question in the past?
Were you? Oh.
Where?
Yeah. Make that the past. Were you in Zimbabwe? Okay.